Shalom, Yasha Allah. First and foremost, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Fadash, and double honors to the beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. And peace and salutations to all you hopeful like Akim out there laboring that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. This is your brother Amar from the GMS Boise, Idaho camp. And I want to do this lesson based on this word and this word, agent provocateur. An agent provocateur, the ultimate agent provocateur, is Esau Edom. You know, him wiggling his tentacles in every aspect of life, from, like the brothers always list, from the water we drink to the food we eat to the air we breathe. Everything is polluted top to bottom with chemicals, genetically modified organisms, mRNA, gene editing therapy that messes up your so-called your that messes up your genetics. Certain foods that you eat regularly that they themselves aren't unhealthy, but the different chemicals and additives that Esau puts in them, it's like you're eating a chemical shitstorm. But the definition for agent provocateur, which is something that we generally put as somebody that's like in the midst of a riot, like the police will send in undercover cops to a peaceful protest or whatever, and it'll have the undercover cop, be the one that's smashing windows, throwing objects, starting fights, trying to get people, heaped up to him. He even may come around with a big stack of cash and be handing out cash to different Jake or different people for them to go and break into a store or do certain acts of violence so that the police on the other side of the protest can have a reason to go in and attack, which is what Esau tries to do by demonizing the different camps. We understand that their doctrines aren't 100% correct, but they're still teaching their Israelites, not saying at all that there's any unity in the fact that they're, teaching contrary to what Great Millstone teaches. But the point that I'm saying is that Esau will try to infiltrate those type of organizations, even though on the outside you think it's good. Oh, our people are getting woken up, being told about their true heritage. Well, the whole time Esau Edom has them under a 501c3 chokehold, gag order, has different agents that have to go and sit into their churches and listen, or just people that wait for their orders to come down and do something extreme. So these are all things that apply to Esau Edom and what he's done to our people, as well as these other heathen nations that have taken advantage of our low estate. But this is, again, agent provocateur, a person who induces others to be violent or commit an illegal act in order to incriminate them or discredit a cause. So that's why we have different Jakes that went off script, different Israelite camps that started teaching contrary to the doctrine, because that is detrimental to, the cause. It discredits the cause. If Esau Edom can get an agent provocateur to, be a leader of a camp, to get people's way of thinking off so that he's the main guy and he has the money and the support, whatever camp it applies to, knowing that they're not teaching the 100% truth as their elders taught them, in the sense that, the elders and apostles at Great Millstone, on down, which are the true elders, Apostle Aramlab, Gabar, Tahar, and Apostle Rakah, so these are all men that have stayed with the doctrine that their elders taught them, in the sense that, obviously the doctrine has been, improved in the sense that there's been more clear understanding. But as of changing the whole doctrine and adding this and changing what the MOT to the B is, hey man, the elders and apostles on down have kept it 100 with the men that are under them and have told them exactly what it is, have told us exactly what the deal is, and they haven't changed. So I wanted to get the scripture, but I wanted to get that word, what really inspired this lesson, because I was like, man, Esau Edom's the ultimate agent provocateur. You know, so I wanted to read this, this scripture. This is, let me see if it'll pull up. Yes, this is Proverbs 12 and 26. You know, going straight to that bread and butter, man, keeping it simple. The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduceth them. So, amen. Esau, Edom, and his ways, you know, by throwing a bag in front of Jake's face, knowing that they're a prominent figure in the mindset of the Israelites as a nation, you know, whether they be a rapper, an artist, a teacher, a preacher, someone that's influential to Jake, you know. So in the sense that Esau, Edom can, you know, get inside your head and distort the truth, because from the outside looking in, it looks like Esau, Edom has everything. He has his face on the money. He got all the countries in order, in the sense that they're not, you know, attacking him outright. The type of technology that he uses to keep other nations in a low estate, you know, the list goes on and on and on. So you have to realize that, hey man, our people have gone off by following the ways of Esau, Edom, and this is why we have to make it a point to expose this man, as well as those that are confederate with him. And that's going to segue right to Psalm 83 and 1. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. You know, and that's Esau, Edom, you know, making his move on, you know, him being able to cause our people to go off, whether him infiltrating, you know, these protests that are going on right now, whether he's influencing and infiltrating a different organization, you know, that is really onto something that can benefit the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American. Esau, Edom is going to infiltrate and have that destroyed. It's going to have the message changed. You know, it's going to smear its image. You know, the list goes on and on to how Esau, Edom will eventually infiltrate you and, you know, take everything you got, which made me think of this scripture. Set him not besides the KJV. This is Ecclesiasticus 12 and 12. Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. And that happened to all the tribes, you know, but what I'm thinking the most of is Esau, Edom, and the wild man, you know, taking over Europe, you know, because our people were the ones that slowly allowed him to integrate into society, that brought disease, that brought the bubonic plague, which we know Yahweh Shem Yahushai did, but I'm just, you know, speaking verbatim, that brought the different filthy lifestyle and diseases that we weren't accustomed to fight against during the dark ages, the medieval times, right before the Renaissance. Because during that time, you know, a lot of Jake died by that plague, you know, the Black Death, they called it. And they tried to blame it on some fucking tick, on a rat. No, I'll tell you what type of rat it was on. It got a long nose, you know, little hat, you know. So again, continuing to the fact that brought down the strong numbers that the Southern Kingdom had in Europe to allow the wild man to go and take over, man. You know, down to the last stronghold in Granada, you know, to Constantinople, you know, which is modern day Istanbul. You know, so this is all history that got Jake ultimately fucking brought over here on slave ships. You know, not all of Jake, you know, not all of Jake got over here on slave ships, because the fact that, you know, the first presidents and the first, I guess you could say, monarchs of America were Jake. You know, we were already here, in the sense that, you know, the majority of the tribes, but as well as Judah came over here as well, you know, as the Moors, you know, during the time that we were just colonies, and the French and the Dutch, and you know, there's a lot of Jake that came over. But, you know, not just on slave ships, man, but as explorers as well. You know, but continuing, you know, back to the point I had in Psalms 83 and verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. Ooh, man. So we see that Esau, Edom, you know, is doing that with every type of news article that he can put out, which we know the people that are rioting over there right now in Issacharlandia, California, are mainly just people that are just want to riot to riot. They don't really care about the so-called Northern Kingdom tribe getting taken up in buses and getting separated. They're just there because an opportunity to smash some windows, get some free shit, take their anger out on officials. It gives them that opportunity. So they're not there to try to better the so-called Mexican people, which the Mexican people ain't getting better, man. The Issacharite people are. The Northern Kingdom, the Zebulonite people are. The tribes getting their true nationality. That's the real healing that our people need. Not these damn fucking fundraisers with painted hand signs, man. Continuing, verse 4, Salakia. They have, Psalms 83 and 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So again, being that agent provocateur that discredits the, how did they say that? Discredits the cause, I think is the way they describe that. Yeah, discredit a cause. You people, so this is the example. You people will start fighting amongst yourselves, not realizing that some agent provocateur is behind this. So again, man, why does Jake, who created the nigga, man? Like we always say, Esau did, man. Who created the cartel member of fucking all hella ganged up, tattooed up, fucking tatted up, got all the type of artillery weapons, the soldiers, type of lifestyle. That's all created by Esau Edom, and the type of wickedness that he wanted to elevate on a status. You can go watch that movie called Blow. It shows you that the government was a part of the drug trade and making kingpins is what they call them when you come to become a drug lord. They call it a kingpin, But continuing, Esau Edom has been the one that allowed those institutions to gain traction to, again, further put our people in a discredited point of view. Because now everybody, it gets what's called the black fatigue, even though it's not black fatigue. Everybody's tired of Esau Edom's Western creation. And Western creation is the so-called black culture, is Babylonian culture, and people are fucking tired of it. Our people just so happen to be most susceptible to the curses and be the most susceptible to being taken by that crafty council to get in a position to where they get fucked up and get arrested and get in jail and all these things because we're under the curses. So of course, even though all these nations are participating in the same thing, if not at higher levels, they're not subject to the same consequences that our people get by getting fucked over by the law, and the different type of in fine print, and this law says that, and this law says that Esau has getting ready, that Esau has ready on deck to drown our people. So continuing, and this is what all nations do. Don't think you can run to any country and get away from these curses, because it's going to list those countries that are ready. Verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, which means they're all on one accord. The tabernacles of Edom, number 1, the so-called white man. And the Ishmaelites, number 2, the so-called Arabs. They got Dubai, the oil, they living good. And of Moab, aka China, over there with their big industrial power and their billions of people that they have under them. And the Hagareans, if I'm correctly, it's another tribe of the Ishmaelites. But then it goes on to list Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines, and with all the inhabitants of Tyre. So it goes through the nations, the Canaanites, which were the Philistines. So Ham, Japheth, and even some of the descendants of Shem, because that's what Edom, Moab, Ishmael, Ammon, they're all Shemitic nations. Elam, So again, all these nations, if you're not in the nation of Israel, are out to get us and will infiltrate anything that Israel has that is going to go contrary to Esau's system. So again, man, the word for today, agent provocateur, a person who induces others to be violent or commit an illegal act in order to incriminate them or discredit a cause. So again, man, be vigilant, be aware. Don't be out there again like I made in my last lesson, acting a fool. Stay your ass home. So Lord willing that this lesson was edifying unto the elect. Till next time, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and infinite glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Chodash, and double honors to the beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Shalaki, peace and salutations to all you hopeful lectakim out there laboring that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. Till next time, Lord willing, Shalom.